Let's go, Sourdough Squad. We see you already dropping in the chat. Let's go. We see you on this beautiful Victory Monday. I hope you guys are having a fantastic Monday again. It is Victory Monday. I'm not going to lie. I got home last night from the game. I had a blast at the game watching Trey Lance in person, watching the rest of the 49ers beat the Texans, but I was tired. So we're back now. We are back now. We see all the squad. Drop a SDS in the chat if you are vibing with me. How are you guys feeling today? What is the vibe around here? Kevin says, time for the afternoon shenanigans. Joshua said, Brad got sauced at the game, man. I had a good time. I'll just say that. I had a good time at the game. We see you checking in from Florida. Let's go. We see the squad. So how are we feeling? I'll tell you how I'm feeling. Obviously, when we got into the game, I'm going to go from start to finish, and that's kind of how we'll talk about it. It really didn't start out that great. It really did not. Again, being in the stadium, the fans in the stadium were really excited and they wanted something to cheer for. But unfortunately, there wasn't a whole lot to cheer for in that first half. It wasn't the best performance. I think what we saw, again, something that we've talked about on this channel, something that we talked about on our late night gang stream, things that we wanted to see. We talked about in the post game too. We did not want to see the Arizona style offense. We did not want to see that. And unfortunately, Kyle Shanahan, that's exactly what he dialed up. He dialed up it felt like I was watching, like I was in the Twilight Zone. I was like watching the same scheme that we saw against Arizona. And I'm just like, I don't understand. Like, why are we doing this? Again, the entire stadium was quiet. Not one opportunity did they be able to get on their feet and scream and cheer. Obviously, the defense did a really good job, and we'll get into the defense a little bit. But that first half, it was really mediocre. And obviously, you can look at it from a sense of Trey Lance. Second career start. First time I think he played since 11 weeks. So you can understand there would be some jitters. There would be some nervousness. You could see the nerves and things like that. However, I don't feel like the scheme was doing him much of a favor. I really don't think the scheme was doing much of a favor. Again, the designed runs, yet again, he was getting clobbered. They were waiting for it. They had two guys. Keying on Trey Lance if he were to do zone read and basically, run the mesh and keep it and run. They were not fooled. They were waiting for it. And it was just one of those situations where I'm not going to lie. I was kind of upset. I was kind of upset in that first half because, again, it felt like it was Kyle. It felt like it was Kyle, kind of not getting out of his own way. And then the second half, it actually all started with the 2-minute drive where they were able to get some passes completed. They were able to move the ball. They were able to kind of get into a rhythm, something that was impossible for them in the entire first half. Again, we've seen this from this team before where there's just been non-existent rhythm for an entire half. And then they're able to put together a 2-minute drive and get things going in the right direction. Again, we saw the same thing week 3 with Jimmy Garoppolo. Really poor first half. And then it was that final 2-minute drive that really got the offense kicked into gear. And I really think when they just got back to the own style, they're like just the offense. Just the offense. Because, again, I've talked about it before, in training camp and all that kind of stuff. They have two offenses. They have an offense for Jimmy Garoppolo and they have an offense for Trey Lance. I don't understand. just run the same offense. Trey Lance is capable of running a pro style offense, and I feel like they were able to kind of get it together in the second half, and then just started running the offense. Again, we started to see play action. We started to see boots. We started to see all that stuff, and everything really opened up. Trey Lance settled in. So it's a tale of two halves for Kyle. I think Trey Lance, considering it as his second start, but in the span of which he had started, and again, it's such a weird year for the rookie quarterback. Again, not preparing to be the starter at all. You hear him talk about it in the post game. Just what I think it's been kind of hammered into him, like your role is the backup. Your role is you are the backup quarterback. You help our scout team. You do all that kind of stuff. But it felt like once Kyle got out of his own way, it started to move. The ball started to move in the right direction. So Trey Lance was able to, again, after a rocky start, was able to finish with 16 completions on 23 attempts, 249 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. He added 31 yards on the ground. He also could have had another touchdown on the ground as well, but it was called back due to a holding penalty. But again, one of the things that we're looking for when we are evaluating rookies is progression. Again, they're not going to be perfect. We all understand that. We all recognize, just like Elijah Mitchell, look at Elijah Mitchell's progression throughout the year. Look at Ambry Thomas's progression throughout the year. Look at guys like Tawano Hufanga and how they've progressed with more reps. That's just shocker. You need reps to be able to truly develop and understand who you are and what you are. And so with Trey Lance getting these reps, again, really kind of unforgettable first half, but the second half just really started putting it together. And it felt like it was in combination of Trey Lance and Kyle Shanahan, because we talk about it on this channel all the time. We talk about Kyle. We talk about how sometimes he can be his own worst enemy in regards to overcomplicating situations, doing too much as a play caller, like just trying to galaxy brain something when you don't need to do that. You just need to go out and run your offense and do all that kind of good stuff. And I think that's what we saw in the second half. It just felt like everything started to click because, as we know, again, this offensive line, they don't practice with Trey Lance. He's running scout team. So when they're introducing quarterback powers and they're introducing these kinds of zone read plays, it's not something that they practice all the time. So it isn't too crazy to think that, hey, maybe the offense doesn't work as good when they're trying to do something that they don't really practice. And so it really did feel like once they settled in, the offense just started to pick up. Trey Lance looked really good in that second half. I think Trey Lance showed what he's capable of. I think he showed the ability to throw the ball anywhere on the field. And I think that's one of the biggest things for 49ers fans, that I think when we look at, how the quarterback play has been for the last 3 years since Jimmy Garoppolo has been here, we understand that Garoppolo is more of a game manager in that sense, meaning we understand where he likes to throw. He likes to throw over the middle. He likes to throw short to intermediate. We really don't see Garoppolo take too many chances outside the numbers or deep shots downfield. So watching Trey Lance, you get an idea of how this guy can really take the offense to the next level. So in regards to the progression from, the Cardinals game week 5 to what Trey Lance did against the Texans, again, what was the biggest thing that we talked about? We talked about scheme with Trey Lance and how that would be the biggest thing for him to be successful. Talking about how if they come out again running that Arizona scheme, they're not going to be successful. And sure enough, it did feel like that. It really did feel like that. So we'll see. We'll see what that means for next week. What do you guys think? Let's poll the chat. Do you guys think that the 49ers should start Trey Lance against the Rams? Or do you think if Jimmy Garoppolo is healthy enough that they go back to Jimmy Garoppolo against the Rams? Want to see your guys' thoughts in the chat. Let me know what you're thinking. So I got one Trey from Rage. SG says yes. Trey, Treyoffs, Jimmy versus the Rams. Go back to Jimmy. Let's see. Oh, they're coming in hot now. Trey, even if Jimmy is healthy. Jimmy, to be honest, Jimmy, he owns the Rams. Jimmy is starting next week, but I want Trey. Lance boosts his confidence. Geek says both. Dylan says, I low-key think Jimmy, not even going to cap. He got the Rams number. Jimmy, healthy Jimmy, Trey. So it's actually pretty even. It's pretty even. Trey for the W and the playoffs. Jimmy, if healthy. Jimmy. 49ers will be playing at home. The fans will show up in LA. No worries. Joshua says only Jimmy if he's 100% since he's beat them before. If JG is 100%, we need someone who is against their front and secondary. The real question is, will Kyle and the coaching staff? I hope not. Man, I hope not. I really hope not. So, as you can see, there's a good amount. It's actually pretty even. Actually, a little bit more surprised by how even it is. All aboard the Lance train. Oh, yep. We're bringing out Jeff Garcia from retirement. Trey 5. Trey. Start Trey to keep his confidence. Have Jimmy ready if he can't compete. Trey. If Jimmy isn't 100%, you better not even think about going back, period, says Chris. Appreciate the super chat, my guy. So yeah, you guys keep dropping them in. There's a lot. It's actually pretty even. So I'll tell you what I think. Now I'll tell you what I think. So you guys know, I mean, if you guys have been with me since the draft process started, I'm big on player development. Like huge on player development. Again, as a player, that was something I had a huge interest in while playing. Watching guys develop, you go from year to year, watching how they got better, those kinds of things. I was a big developmental guy. I showed up not that great, and I worked my ass off to make sure that I was the best player I can be. So I'm big on development. That being said, I think there's an opportunity. It could go either way, to be honest. It really could. It could go either way. But I like the idea of resting Jimmy Garoppolo one more week because, again, UCL tear, chipped bone in the thumb, that really affects how you grip a ball and sling it. Now we've heard, you can play through it. It did sound like Jimmy Garoppolo was really lobbying to play against the Texans. But based on, the shenanigans that happened this week, or this last week with the sources situation, with the emergence of Trey, again, what the offense looked like when they settled down in that second half, I kind of like the idea of Trey starting on the road at SoFi against the Rams, a playoff contender, and a playoff team that they could, in fact, play in the wild card spot. So that to me feels like invaluable experience in a year where Trey Lance hasn't gotten a ton. And with Jimmy Garoppolo being injured, who's to say he doesn't go back out there and get injured right away? So because again, it's a thumb injury. I mean, it sounds pretty serious. Like the UCL tear, chip bone. It sounds like he could benefit from another week of kind of letting it heal, let it rest. And then when the playoffs come around, I would not be shocked to see the 49ers go back to Jimmy Garoppolo in that specific instance. And the reason why I think of it like that is because you can do two things. You can do two things. You can give Trey, and now I get it. It's a must-win start. It's a game that has a lot of implications, but what better way to get the experience that you need in the event that Trey Lance does need to carry the team in the playoffs? Because, like I said, who knows the real extent of the injury for Jimmy Garoppolo? And like I said, what if he goes out wild card weekend? In the second quarter, goes down again because he gets hit on his hand, isn't able to continue playing. I would like a guy to come in having 2 consecutive weeks of starting, being able to build on top of the Texans game, not only Trey, but the coaching staff, the offensive linemen, the tight ends, the wide receivers, the running backs. I would love to see a consecutive game back to back where they have the ability to build on something. And I think you can end the year by developing Lance, developing a sense of confidence in Lance. And then when the playoffs begin, it would make sense, if they did go back to Jimmy. I would understand it. I wouldn't complain too much because he is the veteran. He is the leader of the team. They talk about it ad nauseum. However, I do like the concept of Week 18, Trey Lance getting the start to continue his development. Not only Trey Lance, but the offense as a whole, because as we have talked about, they have not had the opportunity to do so very much this year. So you could get 2 back-to-back weeks of development from Trey Lance, the offense as a whole, coaching staff, and then cross the bridge once they get in. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting too to see if the Rams rest players because they are clinched. They are in the playoffs. So it is going to be very, very interesting to see how this is all managed. Again, I like to think of it in the sense we can still develop Trey and we can still start Jimmy in the playoffs. Because I think Trey Lance is capable. I think Trey Lance is capable enough. So we'll find out, though. It's going to be another crazy week of news, speculation, back and forth. Who's going to start? Is it going to be Trey? Is it going to be Jimmy? Definitely going to be something that we're going to be talking about. So strap in. It's going to be another week of fantastic speculation and all that good stuff. Trey Lance is Shane Falco. Jimmy is Martell. Damn. Bringing out the replacements references. That's kind of fire. Honestly, we don't have to know by Wednesday. Just like we had the late night gang live. I think it was like Saturday night. Was it Saturday night? Friday night? They released. No, I think it was Saturday night. So they can go all the way. They don't have to tell us. What is going to be interesting and what we're going to be watching on the reports. Let's go. We see Twitch. We see Twitch in the building. Let's go, kid. We see you. Cash of God says Trey offs. Hey, man. I think this is a good problem to have. I'll say it like that. I think this is a great problem. Again, you always hear football heads talk about if you got 2 quarterbacks, you got none. I mean, that could be true in some instances. We've kind of seen that a little bit. We've seen that a little bit this year. However, right now, there is an opportunity to do multiple things. Get a win, get development. Who knows if the 49ers are going to need Trey Lance in the playoffs? Who knows? Why did they draft Trey Lance to begin with? They drafted Trey Lance to begin with because of the injury concerns with Jimmy Garoppolo. That's what we were told. And as we have seen, it's fit that narrative. And so as a result, with Jimmy Garoppolo being hurt, we've seen Trey Lance step into action. Trey Lance has been pretty good. Trey Lance has been pretty good. What's good, Chase? We see you, my guy. Yeah, I think the Raiders game was flex. The 49ers game was not flex. There's some conversation about if the 49ers were going to get flexed, but I think the potential of Rams resting and sitting guys probably, they didn't want to flex that just in case that, we've seen it before from the Rams where they have rested guys. But this is going to be the thing, right? Is that the Rams have an opportunity to ensure that the 49ers don't get into the playoffs. So I kind of feel like they're going to run the starters out. Why not? Why not spoil the 49ers' chances, especially because I think, if I had to put myself in Sean McVay's shoes and the Rams' shoes, if let's say they just give up the win to the 49ers, they got to play them next week. And I would probably imagine that the Rams would much rather play the New Orleans Saints or the Eagles than the 49ers. So with that being the thought process, I do imagine that the Rams will run their starters out there. Because like I said, it's a mini playoff game. It's a mini playoff game before the real playoff game. It's a really interesting situation and scenario. But I do see an instance where that is the case. They do run out their starters next week, and it's up to the 49ers. So I'll honestly be okay with either situation regarding the starting quarterback. I have much more confidence in Trey Lance. Not even Trey Lance, in Kyle Shanahan. And then I thought it was interesting how George Kittle talked about how, like, he literally talked about in the post-game presser about, hey, maybe we should just go back to our normal offense. Maybe we should just do that. Maybe we should do what works for us. And they did it, and they were successful. So, again, I'm more worried about Kyle at this point than actually Trey, because I think if you put Trey in a position to be successful, he will be successful. I think Trey's that guy. I think we saw a really good example of that against the Texans. Again, it was the tale of two Kyle halves, not the tale of two Trey Lance halves. Now, like we said, Trey Lance you could tell nerves were there. One of the things that he talked about, he was short arming balls a little bit. And I think that could be product of, just not total supreme confidence yet. As you could see him settle in, the confidence came. He started hitting dimes. He hit Debo deep. He hit George Kittle with that laser over the middle. George Kittle makes a beautiful one-handed catch. That dude is still the best tight end in the world. You cannot convince me otherwise. You just can't. Again, I'm extremely Kittle biased. Again, draft crush out of Iowa. One of my favorite players coming out of that draft class. 49ers draft him in 2018 in the offseason, going from 2017 to 2018. I did a list of like top 49ers at each position. And this was from 2017 going into 2018. Obviously, we understand 2018 was the year that George Kittle broke the record for receiving yards. I got a lot of flack. I got so much flack because in that tight end position, obviously the 49ers have had some good tight ends. Dwight Clark, Vernon Davis. You got Vernon Davis, I think, right here behind me. I put George Kittle. And that was in 2018 offseason before he had broke the record. That's how much bias I have for Kittle. I just think he's the best because, as you guys know, I hold blocking in the utmost highest regard. So, what George Kittle's able to do, not only as a blocker but as a wide receiver, he's the best tight end in the NFL. You cannot literally have a conversation with me. You cannot. Like I Travis Kelce is a phenomenal player, but he is not better than George Kittle. I think George Kittle is the best tight end of the last decade. That's how good I think George Kittle is. But there's my George Kittle rant. We'll get off the George Kittle rant. Let's talk about Elijah Mitchell for a little bit. Elijah Mitchell did some good stuff, man. He did some good stuff. He was able to come away with the franchise record for rushing yards for a rookie. 49ers have had some good rookies running the rock for them. Luke was good. Was good, my Luke. But Elijah Mitchell, again, this dude's missed a couple games this year. He's been beat up a little bit. However, doesn't change the fact that Elijah Mitchell was balling. Elijah Mitchell was balling yesterday. Again, we can see right here, rookie rushing franchise record for Elijah Mitchell. Elijah Mitchell's a baller. And I think one of the biggest things, because I've talked about it on this channel quite a bit, I think Elijah Mitchell is a really good running back and has been a really good running back. However, I think Elijah Mitchell could be so much better than what he's been this year. And I think we started to see some of that this game. Some of the cuts that he was making, that's what we've indicated with Elijah Mitchell in regards to getting better. The toughness is there. The speed is there. The cutting ability is there. The agility is there. He's got everything. The only thing that we've really been waiting for is just him having a better feel for running behind the offensive line. And I think we saw that yesterday. I think sitting for 3 weeks, and again, with the emergence of Jeff Wilson, I think that's Jeff Wilson's strongest attribute is his vision. While it was Elijah Mitchell's weakest attribute, I think you're kind of seeing those two things mold together. And I've said this before. If Elijah Mitchell had Jeff Wilson's vision this year and was healthy, he probably would have led the league in rushing. He's that good, but he can also get so much better. So we're starting to see the progression again with rookies. Rookies are not finished products. They are guys that are going to continue to develop, get better, and do things of the such. So Elijah Mitchell is one of those guys who's continuing to get better and continuing to strive for some pretty sick stuff, man. It's pretty sick. Let's see here. Let's talk about the playoff picture a little bit. We know kind of what the situation is. I think we all kind of recognize that the 49ers do kind of control their own destiny at this point. It is a situation where Uh-oh. All right, we're getting some Kyle Shanahan updates as we speak. Trent Williams' elbow sprain will be managed throughout the week. Reserve COVID list additions: Marcel Harris, Dante Johnson, K'Wan Williams, Raheem Mostert. So hopefully everything is going okay with Trent Williams. I didn't catch it in the game, but I did notice that he did go out for a couple plays, something like that. Tell him, Justin. Let him know. We got what, 160 people in here? We could do better with the likes. I know the sourdough squad. They can hit those likes up real fast. real fast. But yes, we are getting some information now from the conference call that Kyle Shanahan has on Mondays with the beat reporters. So that is going to be something to monitor. Obviously, Trent Williams has been arguably the best player on the team, if not the best player in the NFL. You know, we stand Trent Williams on this particular channel. He is the GOAT. Ooh, Frankie's coming in with that hot fire. Trent Williams, best player in football. I agree. Again, we understand the importance of the quarterback position. It is arguably the most important position in all of football. So we can recognize that and we give that its proper credit. However, what Trent Williams is doing at the left tackle position, which you ask, any football heads, front office people, stuff like that, when it comes to building a team, what are the most important positions after quarterback? They'll always tell you it's either the left tackle or the defensive end. So, and with that being considered and the level in which Trent Williams is playing, he is playing at a straight up Hall of Fame level. He's playing at he's a freak. I can't wait to break down some of the tape this week. He's just different. You guys know we've been breaking Trent down all year on this channel. Trent Williams is a freak, man. All right, so let me get this posted. As you guys know, I'm going to post this to Twitter and to Instagram, and then we'll get back to our scheduled talking points. If you are just joining, we did have some injury information just drop. 49ers Trent Williams, he did have to leave the game. But it doesn't sound too serious. Has an elbow sprain and will be managed throughout the week, according to Kyle Shanahan. Also, reserve COVID list additions. Added to reserve COVID list. We're going to hashtag Hutch Deasy from CamBR. All right. Okay. Let me get this out and we get back to it. Apologies. All right. So, again, kind of back to the playoff conversation that we were having before some of the updates had dropped about the injuries. 49ers controlled their destiny heading into the playoffs. They have an opportunity right now to be able Hutch Diesel update. Okay. So, all right. Let's get back to it. Sorry for the squirrel. We had to get the news out of the way. So, again, if you're just joining, let me hit the refresh. Trent Williams is dealing with a bit of an elbow issue. Also, Marcel Harris, Dante Johnson, K'Wan Williams, Raheem Mostert added to the reserve COVID list. What is going to be most interesting about that is K'Wan Williams, Dante Johnson, Marcel Harris have somewhat proved to be important pieces. Obviously, K'Wan Williams has been pretty solid from the slot this year. Dante Johnson stepped in for Josh Norman getting benched. Oh, we got Josh Norman getting benched, guys. I don't know if I really thought there for a second that Josh Norman was unbenchable. I really thought that Josh Norman was a bit untouchable there for a second. I find it interesting that I so watching it live, it looked like Cooks initiated the contact and pushed Norman first. Although I understand Norman wasn't turning his head around to locate the ball, he wasn't trying to find it. However, the one I think it's poetic justice that the tweet I sent out a tweet like being like, okay, I don't like that. I don't like the play from Cooks. I thought Cooks initiated, and then that's the play where Josh Norman finally gets benched. Poetic justice. I think there's okay. Hold on one second. Let's see what we're getting from the Kyle Shanahan presser right now. Let me see here. 1 second. Shanahan on comfortability and creating a game plan for Trey Lance. I feel real good with it, especially only doing it twice. That's something that player and coach always get more and more comfortable the more games you get. Shocker. Shocker. Okay. He said, Shanahan also said it's probably accurate to say that Lance has tightened his throwing motion up a bit since the start of last season. Since the start of the season, probably not as long of a looping motion as it was, said it's something he's worked on. So again, I think Shanahan talking about the comfortability of creating a game plan for Trey Lance. He says he feels good, real good with it, especially only doing it twice. That's something that the player and coach always get more and more comfortable the more games you get. Yes, very true, Kyle. And I think it's very clear that you have a quarterback that can run your exact scheme, Kyle. You don't have to develop another scheme that the other players don't have familiarity with because Trey Lance is not the starter and he hasn't been prepared to be the starter for the entire year. So why do we have two offenses? So obviously, all we care about is the ability to identify in real time, make adjustments, because that's what football is. It's about making adjustments. It's okay. It's okay to go into this game against the Texans, have a game plan for that Kyle has developed. And again, we understand. I saw it in training camp, guys. I saw it every day in training camp. Kyle loves running Trey Lance. He loves running Trey Lance. I don't think that's what makes Trey Lance a good quarterback. I think what makes Trey Lance a good quarterback is the fact that he's cerebral, the fact that he can read defenses, he can identify pre-snap coverages. He used to set the blocking assignments for his offensive line at NDSU. He can play under center. He can play action. Those are the things that we want to see from Trey Lance and this offense. So I'm glad, like I said, we talked ad nauseum about not wanting to see the Arizona scheme. We did. Debbie says, Brad, did you hear the good news? Elijah Mitchell set the franchise record for leading rookie rushers in 49ers history. We did, but I have no problems bringing it up again because that's how good Elijah Mitchell has been this year. Like, he's been good. And my favorite thing about it is he can get better. That is my favorite thing. That's my favorite thing when it comes to evaluating. We're not looking at Elijah Mitchell in the sense of he's a finished product. We're not. We're looking at Elijah Mitchell in the sense of this guy can continue to get better. And look at what he's done in his rookie season. I'm just saying. I think Elijah Mitchell, I've said it multiple times, man. I've said it multiple times. I really think if, like let's say this was Elijah Mitchell's second year in the league, in the offense, he's probably leading the league in rushing. And that's, I think, what we have to look for next year is what is Elijah Mitchell going to be next season? That is what I'm most excited about. What is this guy going to look like? What is Trey Lance going to look like? What is Talanoa Hufanga? What is Ambry Thomas going to look like? I mean, we're starting to look at this draft class, and we're starting to feel pretty good about it. Are we not? Now, again, trading, the absorbent amount of picks to go up and get Trey Lance just to have him on the bench in a backup role for the majority of the years. It's something that's harder for, I think, fans to kind of quantify, because I think when we all saw that move, we're all like, oh yeah, it's Trey Lance time. So I get it. Wasn't It's been a weird year, but I think what we're seeing from these rookies is they are developing. They are taking strides forward. Again, kind of like Jawan Jennings is a bit of a rookie. He didn't really have an opportunity to perform in 2020 because he was injured, his true rookie year. But Jawan Jennings is coming on. Brandon Ayuk in his second year is absolutely coming on. So these guys are doing a good job developing players. Ambry Thomas, I think, looks great. Like, considering his developmental path. Oh, let's go. Hold on. Shanahan said he expects to activate Mohamed Sanu, Mo Hurst, Emmanuel Mosley, and Tavon Wilson from IR and get these players back on Wednesday. Wow. That is huge, guys. That's huge. That's huge. Let's go. Let's talk about why it's huge. Mohamed Sanu, they talk about Mohamed Sanu as being one of the most profound leaders in that entire locker room. So getting Mohamed Sanu actually back on the field, that's phenomenal. Mo Hurst, now he only played in the one game, but that one game he played, he wrecked shop. When I was in training camp, Mo Hurst was my defensive player of training camp. That's how well he played. Unfortunately, he's just been hurt all year. Emmanuel Mosley, we recognize how important Emmanuel Mosley is to this defense. Talk about cornerback one. I think we went into this year looking at Emmanuel Mosley as, a solid cornerback two, like legitimate cornerback two. But with how Emmanuel Mosley has played this season, I think Emmanuel Mosley has 100% solidified himself and his place as a starting cornerback one in this league. Emmanuel Mosley has been fantastic for the San Francisco 49ers. Now, when he's healthy, but when he's in there, man. And now, again, kind of what we were talking about. Now, okay, Josh Norman has been banned to the Phantom Realm. Fine. Again, I think we all kind of agree that we could go throughout our lives never seeing Josh Norman wear a 49er jersey again. We may finally get the opportunity to not see him for the rest of the year. So with Emmanuel Mosley coming back, the emergence of Ambry Thomas, the 49ers all of a sudden have a pretty solid cornerback room, right? I think we'll talk about Ambry Thomas, and I think I was just about to talk about Ambry Thomas too before this news hit. But let me get it posted, and then we'll really break it down. Update. Kyle, hold on. 49ers. Kyle Shanahan expects to activate the following players from IR. Cornerback Emmanuel Mosley. We have D lineman Mo Hurst. Oh, this is so nice. And even Tavon Wilson. Again, Tavon Wilson has been a key contributor on special teams. When he's been available. So when we talk about, why is special teams maybe taking a hit here or there, it's because you don't have guys that have been your typical starters like them. Tavon Wilson, Mohamed Sanu, both guys are mainstays on special teams. Wide receiver, Mohamed Sanu. And we're going to HT Niners Nation at Niners Nation. Let's go. That's great news, guys. That is great news. That just made me super happy. All right. Getting it posted. We are now on Instagram, and I'm going to get it posted onto Twitter, and then we are back to our discussion at hand. Gosh, that is so good. That is so good. 49ers, Kyle Shanahan expected to follow players from IR. Boom. Let's go. That's good stuff. That is good stuff. Can Tavon return punts? No, Muhammad was, though. Mohamed Sanu was returning punts for the San Francisco 49ers. So, like I said, these guys are all... Oh, so this is interesting. A little bit further, more information about Trent Williams' elbow injury. Apparently, he had a similar injury last season. I didn't even know that. And but Shanahan said the injury is not as bad as it was last season. So I guess that's a good thing. I guess that is a good thing. Obviously, we need Trent Williams. We need Trent Williams available 100%. Let's see. I'm just doing a quick search here, trying to see. Oh, Trey Greenlaw is expected. Oh boy. Trey Greenlaw is expected to be back at practice this Wednesday. Oh boy, we're getting the whole squad back. So again, if you are just joining, Kyle Shanahan is expected to activate starting cornerback Emmanuel Mosley, backup safety Tavon Wilson, who has been a key special teamer, wide receiver Mohamed Sanu, key starter, key special teamer, Maurice Hurst, and Trey Greenlaw expected to be back on Wednesday. Reinforcements are coming, guys. Reinforcements are coming, and at the right time. Wow. Obviously, Nozie's Al-Shair's dealing with an injury. So getting Trey Greenlaw back, especially with Marcel Harris headed to the COVID reserve list, puts his availability in doubt for the Rams game. So, I mean, these are some big W's, guys. These are big W's in the form of personnel coming back to the squad. Asa says, "Can you honestly say that Emmanuel Mosley has played any better than Josh Norman?" Is this a real question? I love you, Asa. I know you are a sourdough squad member. I know. I appreciate the super chat. Is this a real question? I feel like I'm lightweight getting trolled. I don't know. I could be. I could not be. I mean, I did just go on a rant talking about how I believe that Emmanuel Mosley has solidified himself as a legitimate cornerback one this year. I just got done talking about it. I felt like going into this year, I felt like Emmanuel Mosley was a legitimate cornerback two. I thought he was a legitimate cornerback two. But I really believe, um, with how he's performed this year, especially having to step up for Jason Verrett being out, and kind of the situation of the revolving door at the cornerback position, I think Emmanuel Mosley has absolutely solidified himself as a cornerback one in this league. I think he's long, he's rangy, he has this technique that he loves to use. It's kind of like he sits in the hip pocket and it's like he baits quarterbacks sometimes to throw the ball, and then he uses his great length to reach across the wide receiver to break up the pass. So I think I think he's been great. I think he's been great. Uh, I love you, Asa. I appreciate you. I don't want you to think I'm coming at you. But Josh Norman has been probably the worst cornerback in the league. So again, kind of the thought process is at hand. Um, in my opinion, I think Emmanuel Mosley has solidified himself as a cornerback one, while on the other hand, I think Josh Norman has solidified himself as one of the worst cornerbacks in the league. Probably shouldn't be on a roster, to be honest. Really shouldn't have been on a roster. Shouldn't have been on our roster. Now, I understand their personal ties. I think him and Trent Williams are a vibe. I think that Kyle obviously has experience with Norman from the Washington days. But yeah, I just think Josh Norman is, he's probably one of the worst cornerbacks in the league. And I would not say the same about Emmanuel. So one of the things with Josh Norman is he's constantly out of position. He's not he doesn't seem to really take his his assignments very seriously. He kind of does what he does. He's always out of position. Um, JT says, part of me wants to see OBJ versus Norman again, though. I mean, to be honest, I don't, because I think Josh Norman is just a bit of a shell of himself. I think, and I mean, again, he got benched in a must-win game, so that alone is probably not a glowing endorsement of Josh Norman. Again, I've held a pretty firm take and opinion of Josh Norman since he showed up. All starts with that Arizona game and how he handled that Arizona game. It's just bad look. Man, I apologize. I'm trying to get out a Dre Greenlaw. Man, Dre Greenlaw really has not played this year for the 49ers. I have no pictures of him in my camera roll. I probably have over 75,000 images in my camera roll. And I am having a hard time finding Dre Greenlaw. it is what it is. I get it. I get the nostalgia for sure. I get it. I'm at the point where, I wouldn't mind if, I don't necessarily want to see that, because I would imagine OBJ would cook him at this stage of the game. I still feel like OBJ's got some left in the tank, where Norman's just out there being a body at this point. Man, I cannot find a Dre Greenlaw photo. Why is this so difficult? I have to go back to training camp. Sorry, guys. I apologize for how long this is taking. Let's see. What else do we want to talk about? Obviously, we've been dealing with all kinds of squirrels coming in and out. With the news that has dropped from training camp. I'm sorry, not training camp. From the Monday press conference with Shanahan. Please just give me a Dre Greenlaw photo. Why is this so hard? I'm going to find a Dre Greenlaw photo, I promise. I'm going to have to go back 2019 Seattle week to find a Dre Greenlaw photo, apparently. Anyways. Sorry, this is very distracting and starting to piss me off that I cannot find a Dre Greenlaw photo. Please just show up. All right, I apologize. I know this is not necessarily fun to watch. Let's talk about Deebo Samuel a little bit. I think Deebo Samuel. Would you, if you had to pick a team MVP, would you pick Deebo Samuel to be that guy? Would you pick Deebo Samuel to be the MVP, maybe offensive MVP? What are your thoughts on Deebo Samuel? I want to see in the chat. Because I think there's multiple players that could be that. Like I said, I think Trent Williams could be that. Ooh, look at that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ooh, I like these answers. Trent is the MVP. Let's go. I like it. Ooh, Nick Bosa, MVP. Nick Bosa. Cap says I'm fine with Deebo getting it. Team MVP is Deebo or Trent Williams. Him or Mitchell. D-Goat Samuel. Jimmy Ward doesn't get enough credit. I think he's earned, his keep. I think he's one of the most impactful players on that defense for sure. Definitely deserves more credit. So far, Deebo, Trent, or Bosa. Deebo MVP. Ooh, Trent Sherfield MVP. Spicy. Stafford. Mitchell saved this season if he doesn't come like he did. That's a good point. The 49ers could have been in a real scary spot with the running back position if a 6th-round rookie and Elijah Mitchell didn't come up to speed the way he did. Because, again, we understand Trey Sermon didn't really develop like we had wanted him to. 49ers, Dre. Sorry. I finally found a Dre Greenlaw picture. 49ers, Dre Greenlaw is expected back at practice on Wednesday, per Nick Wagoner. Good stuff. We need Dre Greenlaw back. All the reinforcements that we can get, 100%. All right, let me try to get back on track. Hopefully, I'm done posting. I hate posting while doing lives at the same time. I know it's not particularly entertaining. Almost done. Nick Wagner, suspected back at practice on Wednesday. Per Nick Wagner. Boom. All right. So we got all kinds of news, man. Yeah, no Kittle answers. Kittle's been. I think we saw when Kittle was on IR. When Kittle was on IR, the offense just really wasn't working that well because we rely on him so much as a blocker. I really don't think, you know, I don't think he gets enough credit. I agree. Ward Tart MVP duo. They've been balling. So it's been pretty fun. Let's switch gears to the defensive side. Fred Warner has been playing fantastic since his return. Jimmy Garoppolo update. It was very non-committal. So they did speak on Jimmy Garoppolo, but like I said, it was like a very non-committal. There wasn't really anything that was like a definitive report. They definitely aren't going to name the starter. Kyle did say that Jimmy Garoppolo is expected to have off-season surgery. We already kind of knew that, but he reiterated that they are expecting surgery from Jimmy Garoppolo in the offseason, while it does kind of sound like at the same time he could potentially play. So, again, I think it's going to be something that they just hold out until Saturday night, kind of like they did last week. It's going to be a situation likely where Schefter is tweeting out who's available and who's not, kind of that early Sunday morning Eastern Standard Time. I imagine that's when we see I imagine that's when we figure it out. It's going to be another week of speculation regarding the quarterback. But yes, Fred Warner has really stepped up since he's came back. He's been phenomenal. Marcel Harris coming away with the interception against the Texans. I actually got that play on camera. Actually, pull it up. Why not? Let's take a look at the Marcel Harris pick. I think Marcel Harris looked pretty good yesterday. Now, again, I was watching, obviously, from the stands. But I really like the way Marcel read this. Again, you can see he's playing a zone. I believe the first guy crosses his face, lets him go, but understands it's a crossing route. And he just slides right under it and gets the pick. It was really nice. It was really, really nice. So Marcel Harris had a day. Again, he was a guy that I've liked on this team. I liked Jonas Griffith in training camp. I wish the 49ers didn't trade him. He's one of the Broncos' best players this year. Jonas Griffith, former 49ers linebacker. They traded him for like a bag of peanuts, and he's turned out to be one of the better defenders for the Broncos. But Marcel Harris has been playing pretty well. Shout out to Deebo Samuel. Deebo almost got me. I almost caught this. I could have caught this. If I wasn't filming, if I didn't have my phone in my hand, I could have caught this. I could have. I thought about like so many ranges of thought processes went through my mind when Deebo threw this. And it felt like he threw it right to me. I almost dropped my phone to catch it. It was literally one of those situations like he threw it and I didn't know if I should drop my phone and catch it or just get the shot. I ended up getting the shot instead, but that was fun from yesterday. Ambry Thomas almost came away with the pick. Exactly, Jackie. I wouldn't have had the shot. That I had to make a split decision in real time. Talk about awareness. Talk about like situational processing in real time. I had to make a split-second decision. Do I try to one-hand this catch or do I get the shot? I chose to get the shot. But Ambry Thomas, he's been someone that's been playing at a really high level. Obviously, his development has been something that I've really liked this year. Again, started in training camp. Ambry Thomas did not have a good year in training camp, did not have a good preseason. He got dusted against the Bengals. Yeah, didn't do too great against the Falcons, but we saw some of the improvement. And then against the Titans, we saw Ambry Thomas really come into form. And then he did pretty well here. I like the fact that he was able to go up against one of his old college teammates right here, Nico Collins. So I thought that was a fun little wrinkle, is that those were college teammates at Michigan, Nico Collins versus Ambry Thomas in this particular matchup. I think Ambry got away with a little bit of hold there, but it was still a really good play. Almost got the pick. Really, really liked it. Trey said Jimmy is the first person to come talk to him and make sure that he's seeing right things and talk about plays. It's not like they are videotaping their relationship. So hey, it's not a bad thing to fall in love with Ambry Thomas. Again, he's a third-round pick. Looked like he was going to be a wasted pick there for a second. But he's turning out to be someone who's developing. This is pretty much what it looks like when opposing offensive lines try to block Nick Bosa. This is pretty much what it looks like. They just send everyone to him. Nick Bosa just runs it around in a circle, trying to get past the entire offensive line. These teams are really concerned about Nick Bosa. They really are worried about this guy. And they are sending everyone to stop him. Tight ends, running backs, multiple offensive linemen. It is pretty fun to watch. And I don't like, this is a joke, like this is a meme, but this is pretty accurate. This is kind of what it looks like watching Nick Bosa play on Sundays. All right. We're getting to that point. Will we make the playoffs? Oh, if they win, they're in. So that's what the hope is. 49ers get the W. That's the hope. Because like we talked about, if they can get the W, they are in, regardless of what happens with the Saints. That's why that Dolphins win was so huge. Because let's say the Saints won that game and the 49ers and Saints ended up with the same record, the 49ers miss the playoffs. So as long as the 49ers win, they are in. That is it. Literally. There are definitely other scenarios, but it's very simple. If the 49ers win against the Rams, they are in. They are in. So that's what we want. We want to see the 40. This is a big game. This is a big game for the San Francisco 49ers. It's a big game for the Rams. Rams would love to play spoiler to the San Francisco 49ers. So, and like we said, this has additional playoff implication. So although there's been a lot of conversation about the Rams potentially putting, resting some of these guys, I don't think that's what they're going to do. I think the Rams are going to come out and they're going to try to beat us. I think that's what they're going to try to do, because the Rams understand that if they let us in the playoffs with the win, we're likely playing the Rams next. And playing the Rams 2 weeks in a row, I can guarantee you the Rams do not want to play the San Francisco 49ers. They do not. I think we remember what happened on Monday Night Football, right? We remember what happened. They remember what happened. They remember what happened last year. They remember what happened the year before that. The Rams do not want to play us, man. Oh, this is way old. Let me refresh. The Rams. So this is what the playoff bracket looks like right about now. So this this is what it looks like right now. Right now. Again, this can change. This can evolve and morph. I don't want to play the Bucks. I do not. I do not want to play the Bucks. I want to play the Rams. If the 49ers could get the Rams, I feel much better about that. However, you know, dude, it was crazy. I was watching the Bucks again. Who I think we all heard what happened with Antonio Brown, Antonio Clown. What a sad way to go out. Just really quickly on that. Obviously, Antonio Brown has been a big point of emphasis. Was a big point of emphasis for the 49ers in that, I think, 2019 offseason. If you guys remember, George Kittle on New Year's texted Antonio Brown, "Sup, AB," and set the world on fire uh, about Antonio Brown. And then we proceeded to watch Antonio Brown uh, run a news cycle for the better part of about 9 to 10 months. I've never seen anything like it. We still haven't seen anything like it from that particular year. I think that was the year that you could really get a sense of how players can control narratives and control hype and control all kinds of stuff just by using their social media. Um, but I really think, because obviously I had to talk about Antonio. I had to talk about Antonio Brown for months. And at one point, yeah, having Antonio would have been a dream. He's one of the most talented football players to ever step onto the field. Former 6th-round pick. Dude changed the game. Like he's really one of those guys. He's one of those elite guys that are very rare in the NFL. But unfortunately, you know, mental health, whatever other issues there are, has seemingly derailed his career. And I don't imagine he's going to play again. But what I was going to say about the Bucks is, could you imagine looking at that roster like 3 years ago and just like Tom Brady, the offensive line and the quality of offensive line that they have, Gronkowski, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, obviously before the situation happened, Antonio Brown, and Le'Veon Bell. Like, could you imagine that roster 3 years ago? Oh my goodness, it's crazy to look at. Like, it's crazy to look at. That's like a like if I was running franchise mode on Madden, that's what my roster's looking like. It's crazy. It's crazy the amount of talent they have been able to assemble. So I would love to not face the Bucks. I think that would be great. I think that would be great if the 49ers can somehow get away from playing the Buccaneers in the playoffs, especially in the first round. Now, they might see them in the playoffs, but maybe not in the first round. Maybe let us get our feet wet with someone else. Because I think we can all agree that the Bucks are going to come out ready to go. They're regardless of the situation at hand, this could kind of bond them closer as a unit. Obviously, the distraction of Antonio Brown is no longer in the locker room. So who knows? Maybe it's a bit of a galvanizing situation for them. I don't want to see them unless like we absolutely have to. Uh, so we'll see. We'll see what happens in regards to the playoff situation. Could you guys do me a quick solid? I know the Sourdough Squad is got your boys back. We got 84 likes in this billing. We got over 200 people in the watching the live. Just smash that like button real quick for me. Let's see if we can get to 150. How long will it take to get to 150 likes? I bet we could do it in about 2 seconds. Everyone just popped over, smash that like button. Do it for the squad. I would really appreciate it. Cuz you guys know. You guys already know. Let's go. Already at 100. Let's go. Just like that. Already at 100. We see you guys. Let's go. Appreciate you. My guy said, I forgot to like. Shout out to squad. Hey, I appreciate you guys, man. I don't like, I would be lying if I said I like asking you guys to do that, but I do appreciate it. Let's go. We see you. Sourdough Squad, late night gang out in Las Vegas. We see the squad. Let's go. Let's go. We appreciate you guys, man. You guys are the best. Like, we got one of the coolest little groups. I swear. I swear. We got one of the coolest little communities here on social media. I think we got something special cooking. I'm excited to see what we grow into. I'm excited to see what we grow into. Midday gang. We see you. Let's go. Let me do a quick refresh. See what we got. Let me see what we got. So we just broke 100 on that last refresh. Let's see. Let's go 130. We see you guys. Like yeast, we rise. Let's go. Did I hear some boos when Jimmy Garoppolo came out of the tunnel? No, I wasn't by the tunnel. I was off to the side of the tunnel. I remember when Jimmy Garoppolo did come through. Oh yes, SDS merch for sure. For sure. I didn't necessarily hear him get booed. It wouldn't surprise me if someone booed him. I remember like he got a pretty loud ovation when he came out onto the field. But like I said, it wouldn't surprise me if he got booed. The stadium started to boo the 49ers offense before halftime. Yeah, just talking about that. And I don't think it was necessarily they were booing Trey based on the game flow, like I talked about. Like, I think, like, if I was a coach and specifically a play caller and specifically someone playing at home, I would use my home field advantage to my as best as I could. And what that means is getting the home fans going early, like often. And the 49ers did not do that to the point where before halftime, they were getting booed again. And rightfully so. The offense looked awful. It just did not look like 49ers football. What we've came to know from this team when they're successful and why they're successful, running all this Trey Lance designed runs, like that's not the path to success. It just isn't. And so they got booed, and rightfully so. They got booed. I think it was when specifically on that Trey Lance he broke free. It was like a fourth and inches. It was like fourth and inches, and they opted to punt it, and that's when everyone started booing. So it was more of booing Kyle, I would say. And like I said, rightfully so. Rightfully so. It was the way the offense was being operated and being called, at least from just being in the stands. Like it was so like bleh. It was just not good. Exactly. we one of the reasons why we're so good at the quarterback sneak is because of Alex Mack. Alex Mack is phenomenal. He has a very specific technique when basically executing quarterback sneaks. He torpedoes. So rather than, you kind of supposed to keep your head up, engage, and block, he straight up goes down. Like he torpedoes, basically flies straight out into the legs of the defensive tackle. Both the guards crash down, and then they just push. So it all starts with Alex Mack and the way he torpedoes the defensive front. And when he torpedoes the defensive front, it allows the guards to crash in on those guys that he's torpedoed. And so it was really nice. It was that's why they've been so good at the quarterback sneak, is because the offensive line and all that good stuff. Film breakdown potentially tomorrow. I still haven't started going through it. I have to go through it. But that very well could be on the docket. We could be going through film breakdown tomorrow. I'll keep you posted on that. But we're definitely going to do a film breakdown this week for sure. Asa's back. He says Josh Norman is terrible. No doubt about that. Don't want him on the field, but I'm not impressed with Mosley either. By the way, I appreciate you and I enjoy listening. You're doing a great job. Thank you, Asa. We don't have to agree. That's why we do what we do. Is we're all able to watch the same things, and we're all able to come away with different opinions, and that's absolutely okay. So I do appreciate you, Asa, 100%. My biggest thing with Emmanuel Mosley has just been health, availability. Obviously, we understand best ability is availability. He hasn't been available this year. So, again, he's not fresh in our minds of, what he's capable of. But if you go back to let's say go back to the Rams game in week 10, he should have had 2 interceptions that game. One of the interceptions that he should have had was actually broken up by his own teammate, Talanoa Hufanga. So he's had opportunities. I think he's dropped more interceptions than he would have liked. But when it comes, like I've talked about with Emmanuel Mosley, I like his technique. I like his length. I like the way he mirrors wide receivers. I think he's skilled. I think he has really strong length. So I don't think I can understand maybe not being impressed with Mosley because he's not available. He's not. He hasn't played much this year when we've really needed him. So I think that's valid. But I think when he's played, I like what Mosley offers. I do. I think his length is underrated. It allows him to do a lot in coverage. So I do think he's underrated. If he would have come away with a couple more interceptions, like I said, if he got at least one of those 2 picks against the Rams, our thoughts and our memories of him might be a little bit different. But I am a believer in Emmanuel Mosley. And before he went down, most recently, he was, to me, showing that he was, and that's when I identified, at least in my opinion, of him playing like the best that he's played since he's been here. Just need him to be healthy. That's it. Just need him to be healthy. But like I said, I can understand he hasn't played in a while. So we know it's a what have you done for me recently league. So with Mosley not being out there recently, I can understand. Shout out, squad. We're at 140 likes. We see you. 10 away from the goal. Appreciate the squad. Let's go. We see you guys. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't think Mosley's bad, and I definitely wouldn't compare him to Josh Norman. Josh Norman has been an anomaly for how bad a starting cornerback can be. So we'll see. I think the real question is where's Diamador? What happened to that kid, man? Is he in the doghouse? Man, he was looking pretty good there at the beginning of the year. I don't even think we see him on the field that much at all. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is. So, yep, we want the Falcons to win this week. We also want the 49ers to win this week. Both things need to occur. We are so close. Luke says, Brad, you know how some 49er fans are good with Ambry now? But if it was up to them, Kyle and John would have been fired before the kid even got a chance. Players develop, fans need patience. Yeah, I get it. Obviously, there's a lot of knee-jerk reaction when it comes to evaluation. Thankfully, I've been around enough football to recognize and understand what true development looks like, which is why, we're not quick to throw rookies under the bus necessarily, because I recognize that development isn't linear. Development for one guy can be completely different for another. And I think that's just the biggest thing that fans need to kind of understand and recognize, is that when it comes to player development, everyone is different. Every single, again, we're human beings. These guys wearing the jerseys that we're purchasing, although we associate them as like, an entity, they are human, and not all humans are the same. We understand this. Not all humans learn, develop the same way. So that being said, that is something that I just care about progression, consistency, progression. Can you get better from what you were last week? And can you do it consistently? Again, with Ambry Thomas, the progression is right there in front of you. He was getting cooked all of training camp and preseason. Absolutely cooked. Okay. He starts against the Bengals, gets cooked again. All right. Not a great start. Okay. Next week against the Falcons. Okay. Well, he's not getting cooked. He's in position. He's just getting mossed now. But he's been in position, almost had 2 picks. He's in position. Okay. And then against the Titans, only allows 46 yards, I believe 2 catches against A.J. Brown. And then next week against the Texans, clamps, Nico Collins. So that's what you look for in progression. Again, yeah, a kid who didn't play in 2020 and then is thrown into an NFL training camp. And again, I also want to hit this home. It's going to be something that I'm going to talk about quite a bit. Training camp is not for player development. I don't care. Training camp is not for player development. Based on the CBA rules, based on these weird practice rules and everything that they do, training camp is not for player development. Training camp is get the veterans and and get the bodies moving, used to hitting, and then it's like, okay, we're playing preseason. Literally. Like, one of my biggest takeaways from training camp. How does Aaron Banks develop when there's 1 week of pads before preseason? How does one develop? Then he got hurt in preseason. So that's part of it. Training camp, I think it's important for all of us to keep in mind, it is not for development. Like, it is not. So where these guys are going to develop the most are in practice, scout teams, things like that. Because, like I said, based on my first training camp and covering my first training camp, I'm a big player development guy. Big player development guy. What is one of the biggest things for player development? Reps. What don't you get in training camp? reps. So taking it with a grain of salt. Same thing is going to be with Aaron Banks. Okay, Aaron Banks didn't play this year. That's not only just because of Aaron Banks. It's because Daniel Brunskill has been playing at a phenomenal level. Daniel Brunskill is going to get paid starting guard money this year. I don't imagine it's going to be for the San Francisco 49ers, but someone who runs zone schemes are going to pay Daniel Brunskill. He will be a starter in this league. So, again, I think myself included kind of felt like, Banks was going to come in and take over the job. Nope. Doesn't always work like that. And part of that is, lack of time to develop for these younger guys in training camp. James says, like Ambry said, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. 100%. 100%. Playing football is hard, guys. Like, playing football is hard, especially in the NFL, especially with the complexity of the NFL. The NFL is a different game from college in regards to, especially in the trenches. So it is what it is. Going to be very excited to see what the development looks like for some of these guys in training camp next year. It's going to be a lot of fun to talk about this team this offseason, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm a big offseason guy. I love the offseason. I probably like the offseason more than I like the regular season. And it's not probably, I do. I'm a big draft guy. So I love the offseason. So we're going to be talking about it quite a bit on this channel. We're going to be getting into all of the free agent moves, the scouting, the draft. Oh, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Extend Arden Key. Arden Key has been great for the 49ers, especially since they started playing him over the guard. Just really playing at a different level. Just really playing at a different level. Guys, only 2 more likes till we get our goal. 2 more likes until we get our goal. Our goal is 150. 2 more likes till we get our goal. We can do it. We can do it. We can do it. I think Arden Key has been fantastic. I think Charles Omenihu is coming into shape. I'm pretty excited. Again, the 49ers only signed Arden Key on a let's go. We got it. Boom. Appreciate the sourdough squad. Let's go. We hit our goal. 150. Boom. Got it. Appreciate you guys. You guys are the best. But with Arden Key, I'm really excited for him. Dude, our defensive line's really coming into form. What's going to be imperative for the San Francisco 49ers in the offseason is getting another edge player. They need another edge rusher, and not specifically in the mold of Nick Bosa, but speed rusher. I think that's what they need. They need a guy with deadly first step quickness. Harold Landry would be nice, but I wouldn't say he's necessarily that twitchy. I mean, he's got speed. He's got a good pass rush. He's definitely a good edge rusher. Someone that I was thinking about when he was coming out of Boston College. That wouldn't be bad. But I want speed. I want like an Azeez Ojulari. I want someone who can race off that edge and move quarterbacks off their spot. Out of 10, how are you feeling about this Sunday? I feel 8.5. How are you guys feeling about Sunday? I feel like 8.5. And the scale 1 to 10, 8.5, because of the first half. But it's a dual-sided situation because although the first half was really poor, they figured it out in the second half. And we really got an opportunity to see what that team can look like with Trey Lance just running the offense. JT says a solid 7. So far, 7s are the lucky number 7 is leading the chat. We got a firm 9. Kittle and Lance have a little lovers quarrel. That's funny. 7. Ooh. If we could have a Micah Parsons across from Nick Bosa, oh my goodness. So this is more of looking at next week, 5.8, because feel COVID is going to hit the Niners this week. That's what it does feel like. It does feel like that. However, we are getting some guys back, so that's good. Oh yeah, we were a part of the Azeez Ojulari hive. He was my favorite pass rusher in that class. So I'll quantify defensive ends in certain ways. So Jalen Phillips, defensive end for the Dolphins, he was the prototype. Like overall base down defensive end, has the ability to pass rush. So I called him the prototype. However, Azeez Ojulari was the best pass rushing defensive end in that class. The 49ers could have had him. They could have had him. And he would have made a huge impact this year. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Ellis says, Brad, I believe Trey Lance had 280 total yards versus the Texans, even with a slow first half. Do you think Trey will get over 300 total this week versus the Rams? If he plays, I do. Because I think kind of that 40, kind of about 30 to 40 yard rushing floor is what Trey Lance is capable of week in and week out. So yeah, I'm a little bit more confident. Getting a little bit more confident. But I think the rushing floor for Trey Lance is going to be about 40 yards every week. So I think 240 yards is manageable from through the air, especially with this team, especially with the yak ability of Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. So yeah, I think 100% that 280 all-purpose yards for Trey Lance, if he is to start against the Rams, is pretty reasonable. It's pretty reasonable. I like this. I don't care who starts, says Marcos. I just want one playoff game against the Cowboys and beat that ass. I like this energy, Marcos. I want this too. Like, I know this week is going to be another week that's heavy quarterback conversation. It's just what it is. It's going to be another quarterback heavy week. Who starts? Jimmy, Trey, blah, blah, blah. That's what we're going to be talking about at nonstop length because they're probably not going to name a starter until Saturday night. But I agree, Marcos. You know what? I just want to win. I just want to win. Like, I got over the quarterback situation. Now, again, we're going to provide our opinions, our thought processes, because that's what we do here. But at the end of the day, man, I just want this team to win. I want them to have a shot. I want them to have a shot. So hopefully that's what we get, man. That's what we get. I just want a shot. I just want a shot at the playoffs. I want a shot. And if we could take down the Cowboys, that would be even fire. Even more fire. Even more fire. Luke says, Brad, considering that we've been able to beat the Rams with Jimmy, our backups second and third, if we lose with our high profile pick, knowing this fan base, Oh yeah, I agree. If the 49ers were to lose, so again, this there are so many different things that Kyle is going to have to take into account um, with who's starting on Sunday. Do you take an opportunity to see the tape that and how the Texans played against Trey Lance and try to develop a further game plan against the Rams and ride with the hot hand, or do you go with the proven commodity in Jimmy Garoppolo, who has beaten this team, who owns this team? Let's keep it a buck. Jimmy straight up owns the Rams. So uh I understand both thought processes. For either quarterback to get the start. Again, it's a dual-edged sword. Do you want to get development out of Trey Lance in a pretty high-profile game, um, headed into the playoffs where you may need to rely on Trey Lance again? Jimmy Garoppolo has now been hurt twice this year. And obviously, he's going to require offseason surgery, so that thumb issue is not going away. Um, so it's pick your poison. Obviously, being in that building, they're going to have a much better idea than I do. Um, Working with him every day, understanding what it looks like when he's throwing the football. Can he grip it? Um, is his throwing motion at all affected? Is the velocity affected? Is his accuracy affected? Because if they are at all, then it would feel like it would make more sense to just go with Trey Lance for one more week. Um, Especially with two healthy backs and Elijah Mitchell and Jeff Wilson, you can theoretically get it done on the ground. That is one of the Achilles heels that the Rams have against the 49ers, is stopping the run game. So there's so many different ranges of outcomes. I think the biggest thing, Jimmy's got to be healthy. Like, at least, I mean, it's a hand injury on his throwing hand. So I feel like you got to be like 95%. Or else those, I don't know how accurate you can be. Again, we talk about it all the time. If you can't grip the ball with your thumb and his tear is right here and you can't grip the ball, what does that look like when you're throwing it? Because if you can't grip it and rip it, then I would imagine the accuracy, the velocity is going to be affected. Now, so that's not a question for me. I'm not at practice. I'm not watching Jimmy. So that's a question they're going to have to ask themselves at training camp. I'm sorry, practice this week. So we'll see. Brad, what was the grade you would give the defense versus the Texans, regardless of the Texans' rank? I would say defensively, I give them a B, a solid B. I think they did well. Obviously, they had some issues at cornerback. They had to bench Josh Norman. They had to get Dante Johnson in there. Dante Johnson, I think, got hit with a quick penalty. I think so. This is the thing, though. This is the thing with the defense that terrifies me. This is what terrifies me about the defense, and this is why it's so imperative to get Emmanuel Moseley back and the combination of Ambry Thomas playing well, because the Titans exposed us. Whether we like to believe it or not, the Titans exposed the 49ers defense. How did they expose the 49ers defense, you might ask? By implementing Max Protect. So if you aren't familiar with Max Protect, It's when you're keeping in your obviously all your offensive line, a tight end, running back, sometimes two tight ends, sometimes two tight ends and a running back, sometimes a tight end, a wide receiver. Like you're keeping 6 to 7 bodies on the line of scrimmage to block 4 guys. So, although it neutralized, the pass rush there, it forces the 49ers DBs to cover. And we started to see how they were getting leaky. And the Titans did it first. Max protecting, sliding protection towards Nick Bosa. Again, 3 guys blocking Nick Bosa. So they figured out that if we just max protect and we give our quarterback time, our wide receivers will get open, especially with Josh Norman out there. And so that's how the Titans exposed us. And we saw it from the Texans as well, and rightfully so. If I was the Texans, I would have done the same exact thing. It's one of the things that I picked up right away from that Titans game was, oh boy, they figured it out. They figured out how to neutralize the defense. Max protect. Max protect means no pass rush. Max protect means you have to cover longer. Literally the Achilles heel of the San Francisco 49ers defense. So that's why Emmanuel Mosley getting back is huge. Absolutely huge. Money Mark 71 says if Jimmy is healthy, then he starts undefeated versus the Rams. Either way, we run the ball 35, 40 times equals win. I agree. Run the ball. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is. Just run the football. No designed runs either. Just run the football. I agree. I agree. And it could very well be Jimmy. It probably going to be Jimmy. Man, jeez. If I was a betting man and I had to bet money on who the starting quarterback was, I'm going to say it's Jimmy Garoppolo. If I had to bet money and I had to, put some money on the table, I'm probably going to throw it on Jimmy Garoppolo starting. We understand how that team responds to Jimmy. Jimmy's not all of a sudden just no longer the leader in that locker room anymore just because Trey Lance had a good half of a game and got a win. If Jimmy Garoppolo is healthy, then I imagine he plays. But I agree. Run the football. Run the football. Run it often. Run it early. Do all that good stuff. Jesus says, I hope we win to see some Aaron Samuel Jr. memes. Oh, the Rams are just, it's so good for content. Rams week. Daddy B. Now we got Daddy Debo. Oh, it's going to be fire. It's going to be fire. 100%. What were the vibes like in that awesome second half? It was a tale of two halves for the stadium. I was tweeting about it. I was live tweeting about just like how low the energy was in the stadium of that first half. Like silence. Just like everyone's just like, that meme where it's like the guy like with the stick and he's like pointing it at something. He's like, come on, do something. That's what it was like in the stadium that first half. It was just like the defense was playing really well. Defense was giving the 49ers fans opportunities to get loud and get hyped up. But really, the lack of continuity on offense was bad to watch in person. Like in person, it was just like gross. Just not good. It was just gross. And then the second half, they start moving the ball. I talk about it all the time. You give Levi Stadium a reason to cheer, they're going to be loud as hell. And so in that second half, it turned up. The vibes were great in the second half. Offense was clicking, defense was clicking, offense was scoring points, defense was getting turnovers. The vibes changed, and I credit the play calling. That's the biggest thing. I credit the play calling. Once they kind of got out of their own way, everything started to kind of fall into place. Luke says the game plan worked versus the Rams because Jimmy came up huge on third downs. I mean, huge. If he doesn't convert, we punt. If we get behind on the board, the game looks different. Yeah, I agree with that. Can Lance convert on third downs early and often to beat the Rams? We will have to, or it will be a duel between him and Stafford. This game will be different if it ain't Jimmy. Should be interesting. Yeah, again, I think the whole third down conversions is more scheme than anything else. Like trying to run Trey Lance on third down, like let's not do that anymore. Just run your offense. I think if they continue to put Trey Lance in more third and manageable situations, then it'd be a much different story. But who knows? Who knows how different Trey Lance could look with another week of being a starter at practice, another week of a more defined game plan that fits him. So we don't know. Trey Lance could look better against the Rams. There is a range of outcome where that is the case. He looks better. He looks more confident. He looks more in tune with the offense. Kyle looks more in tune in the offense. All that kind of stuff. Hey, man, where'd you get the beanie from? This is a residency beanie. Shout out the squad, residency. I think they're out of stock, though. I think the beanies have flown off the shelf. And every time they restock, they go out almost immediately. I mean, these beanies are fire. Like, quality-wise, like, one of my favorite beanies. But you can use this promo code on any of the residency gear. I got hats and all that kind of stuff behind me. So if you do want to grab any residency gear, use the promo code the SF9ers. Get you a little discount, some free expedited shipping as well. So the other cool thing too is that if they do get them in stock and you use the promo code, it pushes you to the front of the line. Like, so we have a special partnership that if you make an order with my promo code and there's a stock issue, it actually pushes you to the front for the orders. So it's one of the cool things. The partnership with residency. I appreciate you guys. I think we could call it a day. I went extra long because obviously didn't do a reaction show last night. I was pretty beat. So I decided to just kick it and chill with the fam. But you guys know we are going to be talking about the quarterback situation for the rest of the week. Luke says this will show where Lance is. Scheme beats Rams 100%. Kyle's scheme has been a huge reason why the 49ers have beaten the Rams. Now, there have been, you go back throughout history of Kyle Shanahan regime and look at, how he's played them. Again, go back to 2017. 49ers almost beat the Rams. But was it at the Rams? The Trent Taylor play. So they've always played them well. Always played them well. I do think it is scheme for sure. Do think it's scheme for sure. JT Hester says, just ordered the red and gold hat. Tell them to have it here by game day. Send them a message right now. Say, make sure you get that hat in by game days. All that good stuff. So we'll be back tomorrow, hopefully with a film breakdown. So, as you guys know, I typically start with the offense. So, excited to see what the tale of two halves looks like on tape. So, look for a potential breakdown maybe tomorrow, maybe Wednesday. Should have Jason Aponte on for our weekly State of the Franchise episodes. So that will be fun. Oh, could have I got to link up with Jordan Elliott, Niners Nation. He might join me tomorrow. Have to get that coordinated first. Oh, what's good, Sean? Great to see you hop in here. He said super late, my guy. Hey, I'm just happy to see you out here. Original SDS member. Always happy to see you hop in here, man. So I think overall, though, as we kind of close this up, I feel pretty good. Again, first half, not great. But in the second half, the way they rebounded, the way they kind of mixed up the scheme a little bit, made some adjustments, made me feel a lot more confident. Again, Trey Lance is capable. Trey Lance is capable. He's just inexperienced. Imagine what Trey Lance looks like if he started week 1 and had literally 16 games under his belt before he played the Texans. I'm sure it would look a lot different. So it's important to keep in mind with, his bumps and bruises along the way. It's important to remember he has not been developed to be the starter. What does he talk about all the time? He talks about his role. He talks about all that kind of stuff. He's just Jimmy's the starter. He's in his role. Again, I'm sure Trey Lance looks a lot different with an entire year as the starting quarterback under his belt, but we will never know. That is a conversation for a different paralleled universe. Ellis says, let's get to 200 likes. We're at 186. So I think we could get to 200 likes pretty quickly. I think we could absolutely do that. I think the Sourdough Squad could absolutely pull that together. For sure. Look at all the Poly boys in the chat. Let's go. Appreciate you, Sean. Appreciate you. We definitely got lots of respect for all the Poly boys. Let's see. We had 200 likes yet. Let me do my refresh. We hit 200 likes. We're dipping out on a high note. We are dipping out on a high note. Let's see. Ooh, 193. 193, 100% Victory Monday. We're always staying positive. Oh, you are an island boy, Sean. Don't even get it twisted. I'm sure you got the crazy dreadlocks and all. No, I'm just kidding, man. Pro tip: don't post island boy memes. I think that was the post that I got roasted for the most. Was posting a Island Boys meme. I'll never forget it. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. But again, I appreciate you guys as always. The support from the Sourdough Squad is unmatched. I mean, I think we're only 5 likes away. We're only like five likes away. Well, only like 5. I know we can do it. Unless maybe everyone who's in here has already liked the video, then maybe we're capped. Let's see. I'm gonna do one more. So we're at 195. We need 5 more. Just 5 more. Ooh, Breida. Having Breida back would be sick. 197. He said 200 likes gets a free beanie. All right, we got to hit 200 first. It's become our mission. It's become our mission to hit 200 before we bounce out. We're close. Did it happen? Jay Ellis is saying 201. Looks like it. Let's go. We got that 200. It's a vibe. Shout out to Sourdough Squad. Bang, bang, Fluffy Gang. I'm part of the Fluffy Gang. Let's go. We see you guys. We really do appreciate you. We appreciate the support. We're at 200. We did it. Appreciate you guys, man. I really do. We'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully doing a film breakdown tomorrow. Hopefully have Jordan Elliott from Niners Nation as well. But more content coming. Sourdough Squad, we see you. We appreciate you. You guys have a great rest of your day.